Sabbath, church.
Happy Sabbath.
So I'm doing a spoken word that's entitled Jesus Christ. No matter the denomination, all Christianity points towards Jesus. We have crosses, triggers, or stained glass in almost every church as something we look to as believers. And icons represent where our faith and salvation lies. This is a good thing. A reference, a standard. The Bible even says, without a vision, the people perish. However, what if we're too focused on looking instead of being? Is it possible that we look and point towards Jesus so much that we forget we're supposed to be like him? We tell others to follow Jesus, but do we remember Jesus is our example too? That's just the way I am is a go-to whenever there's a trait or habit that seems unbreakable. However, we look at homosexuals and think that quoting Leviticus enough will make a change in their life. Jesus is God, and God is love. He's also powerful, wise, and fun. God is not just a deity, he's a loving friend. This means being like Jesus isn't just religious, it's a lifestyle. But you already knew that. So what's new? Nothing really, but here are some specific traits embodied by Jesus that we should exhibit in our own lives. Joy. Contrary to what many divine services and congregations display weekly, Jesus is joyful.
Amen.
He has a stable internal source of positivity that propels him through life in a very uplifting way. He can see negativity around him and still thrive among it, partly due to the joy inside of him. Excellence. Jesus did nothing half-heartedly. He did everything as well as possible, going above and beyond when necessary.
Amen.
He wanted to be at his best continually, which was part of why he remained continually connected to the Father, his source and provider of everything that he needed. No Excel sheet or Excel shirt could contain his excellence.
All right.
Spirit. Jesus lived with a vibrant spirit, the Holy Spirit. His intensity of care and self-confidence was part of what drew people to him. He was humble yet powerful. That Holy Spirit blessed him with energy and understanding to serve those who needed it. That spirit spread from him to those around him, changing their lives. Unity. Jesus debated with the elites and ate with the outcasts. He sought to bring together all his the weight of humanity's evil, the sins of billions past, present, and future, to the cross. Meanwhile, we can barely handle hearing about one more baby dying in a hot car. He wouldn't be crushed by man, but instead waited on the strength of the Lord in his darkest hour. Jesus was a sacrificial lamb, but he is also the Lion of Judah. Jesus was embarrassed by his own and still didn't succumb to the pain of betrayal. Our strength can strengthen the people around us. Community. Jesus would probably not have nice things to say about many of our modern-day church communities. Disconnected, discouraged, and discriminative. We have so many disputes that disgust and dissociate disappointed members obsessed with the display of what fits our description of what church should be. Our communities lack communication. It's become a sport. We catch up in the hallways or parking lots on Sabbath, but drop the ball during the week, and we wonder why church members are switching teams. We need to be closer to each other and to God in order to bring our communities back to life. Healing. For Jesus brought healing. He spoke life and showed love. He improved the quality of life and the quality of life for the people around him. Anyone that was suffering was a candidate for his care. Not only those that he liked, or those that were easy to serve, or those that really needed it, or those that would appreciate it. He was deliberate in his choices simply because he couldn't visit every person. But Jesus healed all kinds of people. What if we approach people around us like that? If church is a hospital for sinners, and we the people are the church, then when we go out into the world, we should be bringing healing to those around us. We should be creating growth, because anything that isn't growing is dying. Respect. Do we respect God? Anyone can put on dress clothes and sit through divine service, and Sabbath can be pretty easy to pass through with enough religious material. I'm talking about respecting God's ability to change us in our lives. I'm talking about God's promises as faithful believers in the face of adversity. I'm talking about God's presence in our lives throughout the week, not just at family worship, saying grace, or church.
Come on now.
Do we respect others? Do we really use the golden rule, or do we have a double standard for ourselves and others? Let us examine how we treat others and see if we really are respecting those around us.
Yes.
Investment. Jesus did not just talk about beliefs and values, he invested in them and made them a reality for himself. He went beyond talking about loving his neighbor and actually loved the Samaritan woman.
Yes.
He went beyond talking about the sacred house of his fathers and actually flipped tables in the temple. He made his faith manifest. I've started investing recently, and after a rough start, things have finally trended upward. Things continually go up and down, though. Investing does cost you something. Being a Christian does have challenges, but the right long-term investments can reap blessings beyond belief.
Yes.
Salvation. Jesus brings salvation through his death and sacrifice for us. We should be displaying that salvation to those around us. We have to live in this world, so we can't be isolated from the world, but we can be different. We're supposed to be. We put lots of emphasis on being different theologically and nutritionally, but what about being different relationally and internally? Doing the same thing, expecting different results, aka living and behaving like the people around us, but expecting holiness, is insanity. So for our lives to stand out, we have to be different, and that starts from the inside. Transformation. That transformation is completed by Christ and conviction of his power. The change is internal and doesn't show on the outside immediately. We need to display transformation in our lives, because telling people about anything you're ever trying to sell is a lot easier when you have a personal story and evidence to support it. If you haven't realized yet, those traits spell Jesus Christ. And if you feel like you need more of those traits in yourself, that's a sign that you need more of Jesus in you. Let us move beyond looking at Jesus to looking like him.